Now let me tell you a few things about Erie County will do and won't do as part of a foreclosure sale. Now, for those who are worried about if their house gets foreclosed or it's in the foreclosure process, what does that mean? Well, first off, Erie County does not padlock your home. There was some information that was spread by a representative of a local government, not the town of Tonawanda, that said that Erie County will padlock your home if it enters into the foreclosure process. That is not the case. Actually, we work with homeowners to set up payment plans, so hopefully their homes will not have to be foreclosed, and I'll let Joe and Nancy talk about that at the end. Also, Erie County does not take ownership of properties. What we do is we hold the tax liens, we will then sell them in a foreclosure sale, and then transfer the property through the foreclosure sale to the new owner. So Erie County will never actually be the owner of the property. The current owner of this property is the one who abandoned this house. We have the tax liens on it. We will sell this in a foreclosure sale to a responsible owner who will then upkeep the house and pay the taxes on it. Now, we want all to live in neighborhoods where our neighbors take pride in the houses that they live in, and as well as the neighborhood that surrounds their houses. It's important that we do this because not only does it increase the value of a property like this by getting it back on the tax roll, it increases the value of all the properties that surround it. Because if you live there or there, you're not going to be able to sell your house. Unfortunately, I see one for sale. You're not going to be able to sell your house at the greatest value you could get if you got an abandoned, derelict property like this just 2 homes away. We want the people of the community to know that we are addressing this issue. We did it first with the creation of one of New York State's first land banks, and we're doing it again by ensuring that properties that need to be foreclosed are foreclosed, and no one's getting free rides anymore. We want to ensure that if people can pay their taxes through a payment plan, we give them the opportunity to do that. But if they don't pay their taxes and they abandon properties like this one on Fowler Street in Tonawanda, eventually those properties are going to be sold through a foreclosure sale, put back on the tax rolls, and have a responsible owner maintain this so that the rest of the people in this neighborhood don't pay for it. This time I want to turn over the dais to Supervisor Anthony Caruana to talk about some of the issues that they've been dealing with in the town of Tonawanda and the strong coordination that we've had working with the town to address issues like this not only on Fowler Street but elsewhere. Supervisor?
Thank you, Mr. County Executive. I have with me today, standing next to me here, is our town assessor, Dave Morano, and next to him is our Chief Code Enforcement Officer, Carl Heimiller. And the town of Tonawanda is very appreciative of Erie County's plans to hold at least 2 auctions a year to get the vacant properties into the hands of contractors or homeowners who will renovate them and bring them up to acceptable standards. We have received many complaints regarding vacant houses that were in the last 2 auctions, and we are pleased to see that many of those have been renovated and that these new owners are maintaining the properties, and this will help protect the property values of those homes in the neighboring areas with them. So we are very pleased to see they're being renovated and maintained, and we look forward to getting the process moving as quickly as the county and the circumstances allowed to keep this going, not only here but throughout the entire county. And we thank them for their efforts that they have done. And this I will turn it over now to Joe Majeski, who will explain the process. Joe?
Thank you. I do want to thank our partners in government. I do want to thank
Tell me when.
Good.
Start over?
When?
Okay. I do want to thank our partners in government, like the officials from the town of Tonawanda, and I also want to thank the Polling Cars administration for giving our department the tools to help with put these properties back onto the tax roll. One thing I do also want to mention is to dispel the myth that if you're in foreclosure, there's nothing that you can do, and that's the farthest from the truth. We have negotiated more payment plans than houses that we've put through foreclosure, and that's a good thing. We're not in the real estate business, but we are going to enforce those tax liens within the law, and if you come to us with a legitimate situation, you have a health issue in the family, you've lost your job, we will sit down and negotiate a payment plan with you.
Can you repeat that? The wind took half of the
Okay.
The wind is taking half of the
Okay. What my office wants to do is work with taxpayers and homeowners that don't have the means right now to pay their taxes due to a health issue in the family, or if they've lost their jobs. We will work with them. It's those that have tried to game the system, that walk away from the properties, or basically are in denial that they need to pay their taxes.
Thank you for the
If you have any questions, I'd be glad to entertain them at this point. Al?
I'd like to ask the town supervisor, because we were here when the grass was left. When somebody just walked away from the house, as in this case, neighbors are upset, grass gets too long, can you say what you have done so far with this, or what the town can do to try to help minimize the blight that this is causing?
Well, what we normally do is that I get complaints on a regular basis, especially about the grass cutting on some of these homes. And by our regulations, we have to give 10-day notice to the homeowner or the property owner. And so we have that 10-day window. I can have Carl give you a little bit more background on this particular property. If you want, Carl, you want to give a little more on this one?
Yes, this property's been vacant for approximately 3 years. We can't site the property until the grass is 10 inches high. And like the supervisor said, that we then have to give them 10 days to cut it. If it's not cut in 10 days, we send our contractor out and we charge the cost to the property taxes.
Why is it 10 inches?
That's a state law that we follow, yes.
You can't amend the state law to make it shorter? Or is it-
We'd have to apply to the state to make it shorter than that.
There's
If I-
a big new business at Niagara Falls Boulevard and Sheridan Drive that has to cut its grass.
If I can know, one of the problems with the way the law is set up and where we all pay for this is if the town has to come out and cut the grass. They then charge the cost of the grass cutting to the homeowner. But if the homeowner doesn't pay the taxes, the county in the end makes the town whole for the cost associated with that. And all towns do that in Erie County, which means the rest of us are subsidizing the cost for maintaining this. Because if the homeowner is not paying their taxes, and the town assesses the cost associated with maintaining the property to the tax roll, then who ends up paying for it? Well, the county makes the town whole for the unpaid taxes, so everyone else in Erie County is basically paying for the cost associated with it. That's why it's important that we get these on the tax roll as soon as possible, so we don't have individuals who are abandoning their properties, not taking care of them, because the rest of us have to take care of them. Now, one of the big problems that we have with doing foreclosures as quickly as possible is we have a 2-year window that we have to wait from the declaration of a tax lien. So if somebody doesn't pay their taxes, if somebody didn't pay their taxes for 2013, then we couldn't start the foreclosure at the end of 13. We'd have to wait until they didn't pay their taxes in 14. And then after the 2-year cycle is run out, we could then start the foreclosure process. That's a problem that we have because of New York state law regarding the Erie County Tax Act. We'd love to speed this up. I know even the prior administration, Mr. Collins, talked about speeding up the foreclosure process. But until we get that law changed by New York state government, we're still in this window where it takes 3 years from almost the time an owner abandons property to where we can foreclose it and get it back on the tax rolls. The most important thing we can do right now is ensure that we get problem child properties like this into the foreclosure process, because some of these have been sitting out there for years, and let these owners know you're going to lose your property. You're going to lose your property. It's going to be sold and it's going to be back on the tax rolls as soon as we can, but part of the problem is it takes so long under current state law that we have to follow.
Is
there anything on the drawing board that changes the statement?
Well, we've talked with state, local representatives about this repeatedly. It's just going to take some time because, as you think, trying to get state government to act sometimes takes much longer than we'd want. I've discussed this with a number of the assembly members and senators. I know I talked with Senator Grisanti about it in the past, and I talked with Assemblyman Kearns, Assemblyman Ryan, and they're all aware of it. The question is just getting the law changed. It's going to take some time still to do that.
Any idea how many properties like this there are throughout Erie County?
Sure.
Oh,
We've identified about 1,000 properties that that are what we call ripe for foreclosure or ready for foreclosure. But as the county executive said, we now have developed a systematic approach where we're going to go after these properties, notify those homeowners, and attempt over the next few years to put those 1,000 properties through the foreclosure process.
That was the reason for having two of the interim sales 1 year as opposed to one.
Well, yeah, we have an inventory of properties, and we have a very strong interest from investors from Canada, our neighbors to the north. We've had them coming in from Virginia. We've had them coming in from all over because with the list being on our website, it's really generated some interest. And also we had over 100 people at our first class on how to purchase tax foreclosed property.
Do you treat vacant land any differently than occupied dwelling?
Vacant lots are not a priority at this point. The land bank, we hope, can address that. In the meantime, what we have to do is utilize the budget resources that we have to get homes like this back onto the tax rolls.
Mark, yeah, obviously, like back in '06 when I did the flipping documentary in the city of Buffalo, that was a kind of a different, is this a different problem than what the city is facing?
Yeah, because what the city was facing were people who were basically buying properties thinking for investment purposes in exceptionally distressed areas like the east side of Buffalo, buying them in a tax foreclosure sale that the city held, finding out what they had and just abandoning them or reselling them to other people. First off, we think we have a pretty good process in place to ensure that when we do sell these, they're not going to be flipped. I know that they just had a informational seminar with, they were saying, over 100 individuals, and one of the, that attended, and one of the things that we focused on is there are good things about buying these properties, whether you're going to do it for your own home or whether you want to do it for investment purposes. But there's also, if you're thinking you're going to get rich off of like buying 39 Fowler, like you see on TV and the flipping, you're not going to make a lot of money selling 39 Fowler. But what we want to do is inform the public that we want responsible owners. We don't want to see someone come in from outside the area, buy 50 properties, thinking they're going to make a ton of money off of them, when in fact you're not going to make a whole lot of money off of these properties. What we want to see are responsible owners who come in, whether they're buying it for their primary residence or for 1 or 2 rental properties, and let them know that you can fall into the trap just as quickly as the person who was here. Because if you overextend yourself, you're not going to be able to pay your taxes, and what's going to happen? You're going to be in the same situation. So our goal is to avoid flipping. Our goal is to ensure that we get property into the hands of responsible owners who are not only maintaining them either as their primary residence, but even if they're not their primary residence, they're ensuring that they're not degrading the value of the neighborhood by becoming a flipper who doesn't really care about the value of the property. All they care about is a small income stream. Any other questions?
This is our remedy. There's no person.
There's just the loss of the property through a foreclosure sale. There's arguments whether you get delinquent judgments. Let's say we sell this in a foreclosure sale and they still owe us X amount of money in taxes that are not paid for as part of the foreclosure sale. That would require changing law for that to happen. But the primary remedy is the loss of the property, which for some people is a tremendous remedy. For someone who's abandoned it for a long time, they may not care. I mean, they're abandoning it because they don't want to deal with it anymore. For many people, as Joe noted, they don't want to lose their house. They don't want to lose their property, so we enter in payment plans with them to get them back into the responsible homeowner. Now, when we do these payment plans, they're still responsible for future taxes. They're still going to have to pay interest associated with it, but we just ensure that their house isn't foreclosed. And we'd much rather have a payment plan than going through a foreclosure sale, because you want to have a responsible homeowner in the property paying taxes rather than have somebody walk away. So if we can get them in a payment plan, it's much better than foreclosing on it, because in the end, then that individual is going to be looking for somewhere else to live, and it certainly doesn't help their credit rating to be able to buy a house and then abandon it. They're never going to be able to buy a house again, because no one's going to give them a mortgage if they're that bad, especially after the issues of what happened in 2008 across the country with the mortgage market.
They don't get in trouble for tax evasion or something like that? I mean, the IRS doesn't go knocking on their door saying, hey,
This is not an IRS issue. This is a local government issue. IRS has nothing to do with this. When we talk about taxes, we're talking about the real property taxes that are assessed by the town of Tonawanda, the county of Erie, or if this happened to be in the village of Kenmore, the village of Kenmore. The IRS has nothing to do with this, because this is not talking about income taxes. It's talking about the property taxes that we assessed based on the value of the property.
So if someone has a house like this in their neighborhood, like I know there's a house down the street, that has grass about knee high, not even knowing if it's foreclosed or not, is there a way to contact you guys and let you know?
Yeah.
Well,
You're
certainly with the code.
downtown, we call our office here, and we will, I think I know you're talking about corner of Parker and Eggert.
On Leonard.
Okay, well, there's one there also, and that's exactly what we don't know unless somebody calls us, unless we're driving around like I did. Lady asked about Stanton. That's how I found it about a week ago, and they've already been cited. And if they don't cut the grass, they will. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot where I was on here, but yeah, unless we're notified or we see it, we can't do anything, as we said, up for 10 days. We can cite them and they have 10 days. But I saw Stanton about a week, or actually a Friday of the week before, and they cited them after Memorial Day holiday. And if they don't have that cleaned up by, I think it's Thursday, we will do it, and then we have to charge the property. The problem is not the local manager; it's their corporate headquarters who has not, they have not approved the contract for the maintenance people to do there. So unfortunately, that's why it's that way, and it's an eyesore, and I agree. But we appreciate our property owners and our residents letting us know if they see something, absolutely, and we take care of that as quickly as we can. You're welcome.
Anything else, guys?
How many properties do we
All right, everyone, thanks to the media for coming. I appreciate it. More information on the property tax foreclosure process can be found on Erie's website at erie.gov. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, great.
Thank you. All right, thanks. Very good. Nice job. Thank you. Thank you.
Most of those are not county, under control of the county. Most of those are in the that's a whole other situation. Dave Moreno, the town assessor. Hi, Mark. Nice to meet you. Carl, what do they get for grass cutting? It's 5.5 cents a square foot.